So thank you all of you for coming. My name is Marilyn Karp, and I'm a street fighter from the Bronx. So tell me, what does democracy look like? This is what democracy looks like. One more time. Tell me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. So I'm here today for the future voters of Virginia, the children. The pipelines are very dangerous. They explode. They will foul the air and destroy the drinking water. We cannot leave the children with this kind of a legacy. We need the Virginia government, including the governor and his departments and the Virginia legislature, to do their job, to do what the law says they are supposed to do, to put people's lives over corporate profits. We are watching. Remember the 6th of November. Emily?
And Indivisible Nova West for helping us get organized and try to make some new connections and alliances between Western Virginia and Northern Virginia and Richmond, Virginia. My name is Emily Satterwhite. Like you, I made phone calls, wrote letters, signed petitions, and submitted comments to Governor Northam, DEQ, and the State Water Control Board. Despite overwhelming and indeed near unanimous public opposition to fracked gas pipelines, our requests fell on deaf ears. So, last Thursday, I locked myself to the top of an excavator parked in Mountain Valley Pipeline right. It shouldn't have ever come to that, but I locked down to an excavator in an effort to make loud and clear our collective messages to the State Water Control Board and our elected Virginia Democrats. To the State Water Control Board, we say, DEQ is not giving you the information you need to do your job. There is nothing the DEQ and MVP fear more than that you, the State Water Control Board, will assert your authority. This week's phony temporary pause in construction was likely meant to appease you, to convince you that there's no need for you to call a meeting. To Virginia's Democratic delegates and senators, we say, pipelines or democracy, you choose. Dr. Northam's inaction in the face of clear violations of the Clean Water Act is a crisis for public health. Governor Northam's stunning inaction and his appalling disparagement of water protectors is a crisis for the future of the Democratic Party in Virginia. Will we, tireless volunteers, canvass, phone bank, donate funds for representatives and candidates who condone Northam's inaction? Will we? No! No, we will not. Will we, tireless volunteers, canvass, phone bank, and donate funds for representatives and candidates who take their cues from fossil fuel interests? No! No, we will not. Will young millennial voters be inspired by representatives and candidates who fail to demand clean energy for our state and for our planet? No. No, they will not. Democrats' only hope is to follow the lead of delegates Sam Rasool, Mark Keene, Chris Hurst, Senator Chat Peterson, and candidates Jennifer Lewis and Anthony Flaccavento, and being vocal about the damage done to our state and to our democratic process by these unnecessary and unwanted pipelines. Delegates Dave Reed and John Bell, we are looking at you. Delegates Matthew James and Rosalind Tyler, we are looking at you to ask, where are you getting your information? Whose interests are you representing? Represent the people or go home. Represent us or what? Go home! When you leave here today, please call your delegate and your senator and ask them to go on record against these unjust pipelines. Let me back up a minute. If my message was for the State Water Control Board and Virginia Democrats, why on earth would I chain myself to an excavator at the top of a mountain? There are so many reasons, but I will explain three. I took my stand on Brush Mountain in Montgomery County. Brush Mountain stands at the headwaters of the Roanoke River, providing drinking water for hundreds of thousands of Virginians, including the city of Roanoke, where 36% of residents are people of color. and the poverty rate is more than double the state average. The increased sediment load from MVP will cost Roanoke's Water Authority at least $36 million every year. In many parts of the United States, drought and decayed infrastructure threaten our water. Virginia's water is a priceless treasure. Our water is not to be sold by Democrats to Mountain Valley Pipeline for a mere pittance. Those of us gathered here today are here to say, hands off our drinking water. Say it with me, hands off our drinking water.
Hands off our drinking water.
And here's a second reason. Brush Mountain was stolen from the Monacan Indians before it was stolen from Montgomery County residents. The expansion of the fracked gas industry repeats violations of our most vulnerable populations. But the expansion of the fracked gas industry also shows us that white privilege and class privilege will not protect us from a system of theft for profit if we continue to capitulate to its logics. We must forge a better path. Those of us gathered today are here to say, hands off our democracy.
Hands off our democracy.
The third reason I took my stand when and where I did. Scholar Erica Chenoweth tells us that the most effective resistance to totalitarianism is peaceful, nonviolent resistance by at least 3.5% of the population. That's good news. That's all it takes, is 3.5% of us willing to raise our voices. The population of Virginia is 8,470,020. 3.5% of that is 294,700. Now I know that we have more than 300,000 Virginians who see through the MVP and ACP boondoggles. I know that more than 300,000 Virginians recognize how precious, how invaluable is our pristine water. I know that more than 300,000 Virginians want a clean energy future. I know that more than 300,000 Virginians want a government that is responsive to people, not to corporate entities and fossil fuel interests. We can stop these unnecessary, immoral pipelines. We will hold Virginia accountable for handing over our commons to corporate profits. As many of you know, on May 30th, Governor Northam's own Advisory Council on Environmental Justice reached consensus on a draft statement. The governor's own Advisory Council recommended a moratorium on new gas infrastructure and called for a stream-by-stream assessment of the impact of the ACP and MVP pipelines. The Environmental Justice Advisory Council also said that placing a compressor station in the historic African-American community of Union Hill exhibits racism and maintained that the human rights of protesters are being violated by law enforcement. Governor Northam, listen to your own Advisory Council. If you are unable or unwilling to take leadership on this unfolding pipeline travesty, recuse yourself and allow Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax to provide oversight of the mess left to us by former Governor Terry McAuliffe. I want to leave you all with a quote from Wendell Berry, a quote that has been ringing in my head the past few months. Berry tells us that we don't have a right to ask whether we're going to succeed or not. The only question we have a right to ask is what's the right thing to do? What does this earth require of us if we want to continue to live on it? Thank you all for being here today to do the right thing and to demand that Virginia do the right thing.
Yeah, it takes a while for the dead to rise. At my age, yeah. Emily was fabulous, and she has all the facts. I feel like just an old tree setter compared to her. I still don't understand how this is happening, how that we can have people come in and take our land because they can make money. It makes no sense. When I talked to some energy people at Tech, Emily, I believe, was there, the guy said, last year we used 2% less gas than the year before. And the year before we used 2% less gas. everybody in the world right now is fracking, so there is no gas shortage anywhere, so there is no need for these gas lines. These gas lines are also not going to benefit Virginia. They are going straight for export. My sister-in-law called FERC, and they got very ugly with her because she said, what are you going to do with this gas from these pipelines? And they told her it was none of her business, that they did not have to tell her where this gas was going, and pretty much she could get over herself. Yeah, I'm having a real hard time believing that our government is putting profits before people. We were told it was a 1.5 mile destruction, dead zone, if these pipelines blow. The Sierra Club did some new numbers, and it's a 2.5 mile dead zone when this thing blows. Not if. Also, the scientists came in and ran the numbers of the newer pipelines, and there is a 50 to 80% chance that this will blow and take out 2.5 miles of schools, churches, subdivisions, and for us that live in the country, you know, the cattle, the wildlife, the families, oh, what the hell, the dog, the cat. You know, but that's a sacrifice MVP and EQT are willing to make for profits. I am very fed up with our doctor of a governor. I thought maybe he just needed more patience. And then I thought, well, maybe he was a crappy doctor. But I've just about had it with him. McAuliffe in secret meetings for 18 months. Why do we not think Northam was not in with that too? To give away our property and to destroy our water. We also have professors at Virginia Tech that say when you come down a 72 to 75% grade, you cannot control sediment. MVP told FERC they were going through gently rolling hills and valleys. Poor Mountain is a 72% grade. They said you cannot stop water from running downhill. FERC's still okay with that, and so is MVP. We had 3 pipelines blow 2 weeks ago. One of them was 6 months old. It was top of the line, but it blew. I called Northam. I said, hey, this one blew, and within the week we had one in Kansas and one in Oklahoma blow also. Are our lives really not worth saving, and our water's not worth saving? They've already destroyed 13 acres of trees on our land. That's just our land. That's not my neighbors where they've cut through the wetlands also, gone up to their doors damn near to put their limits of destruction. I mean, they walk out of their house and in 3 steps they're in the limits of destruction. That's how close they're coming to our neighbors' houses. This is totally ridiculous to me. And I just cannot believe that our government is this freaking stupid. I guess we're going to have my dead daughter up next.
Hi guys, thanks for being here at our die-in. So that was the Tree Sitter Red of the Stand with Red movement, and I'm Tree Sitter number 2 of Camp Kick-Ass. For those of you that are not aware, I was in the tree for 33 days and my mother was in the tree for 34. And while we were in the tree, MVP sued our family because, you know, we were on our own property. We managed to miss that court case, but Wade Massey, MVP's lawyer, got his panties all up in a bunch because we were talking about this pipeline. I hate to break it to you, bud, I'm not going to stop talking about this pipeline, and I'm going to continue doing events like this die-in, and I'm going to continue to put my body on the front line, along with Red, along with Emily, along with Jenny and Mary Beth, and so many other people here that have stood side by side with us. And thank you everybody for being here today to continue to stand side by side with us. Because these pipelines, both MVP and the ACP, are completely unnecessary. But all of you here know that. That's why you are here. Apparently I'm too quiet. Sorry guys, they went my train of thought. Yeah, we are here.
Still here.
We are still here, and we are not going away. How many people do we need to speak up? 300,000? 300,000 Virginians, and I see a pretty good chunk of Virginians here, and you've all got friends, you've all got family, you've probably all got a social media presence. Don't stop.
Right here too.
That's right, we got West Virginians represented here too.
Don't stop talking about it. Talk until the people you're talking to, their eyes have glazed over and they can recite the facts with you. And then go talk to every single person you meet, your server at the restaurant, your bus driver, your neighbors that already know it all. Just keep talking about it. Call Governor Northam. Ask for the State Water Control Board to put an end to this. Just keep going out there and keep spreading this message and continue doing events like this. Get together with people, brainstorm new ideas, brainstorm new locations, put your bodies out there. The only way we can stop this is to do it together. So thank you very much for being here today.
An unprecedented assault on Mother Earth. This outrage affects all of us, regardless of a political affiliation. The destruction of our planet must stop. At risk is our air and water. These are essential to the health of all, including young children, Governor Northam. Where is Governor Northam on this issue? He has claimed the best science would be the arbiter of whether or not the ACP and MVP pipeline construction would continue. Do you believe this? No. I do not. The State Water Control Board, DEQ, and the governor have ignored legal, financial, scientific, and engineering arguments from experts against the construction of these pipelines. What's more, they have purposefully and repeatedly devised roadblocks to thwart any dissent. They claim peaceful protesters are eco-terrorists. Homeland Security Fusion Center, we are now classified with terrorist threat scores in Homeland Security Fusion Center databases. Yet we are mothers of children, grandmothers, grandfathers, teachers, factory workers, doctors, nurses, farmers, college professors, business people, engineers, scientists, lawyers, veterans, college students. Is this an America we should be proud of? An America that now labels us as terrorist threats because we exercise our First Amendment rights? We vote. We will remember those who chose to side with corporate greed. Fundamentally, democracy and personal liberties, what our founding fathers fought for, are at risk. The rule of corporate America is slowly taking hold of our constitutional democracy and the Bill of Rights. Former Democratic Governor Terry McAuliffe, who strongly backed the MVP and ACP pipelines, secretly arranged a sweetheart deal that limited liability of MVP, ACP, and EQT before he left office. Before last fall's election, during the visit to Blacksburg, Northam told me and others face to face that we needed to elect to office before he could, that he needed to get elected to office before he could take action on the pipelines. We are still waiting.
Still waiting. Still waiting. Still waiting. Northam, your name is mud. Your name is mud. Your name is mud. Northam is mud.
Why is Governor Northam so reluctant to side with those who want clean air and water and want to preserve Western Virginia's scenic natural heritage? Could it be we are expendable in the calculation of political ambitions?
Yes. Oh no.
Governor Northam, who is from the Eastern Shore, strongly supports efforts to save the Chesapeake Bay. This is good. But with the contribution of CO2 and methane from fracking, from the continued use of fossil fuels transported by the MVP and ACP pipelines, the bay will cease to exist. With sea level rise, there will only be the Atlantic Ocean. Governor Northam's beloved Eastern Shore will become a sandbar. Is this how you want to be remembered, Governor Northam? Do you want to be remembered as a pawn of big oil and gas and Dominion power? Or do you want your legacy to be a man of courage who stood bravely against corporate interests and did the right thing? Our planet and life on Earth as we know it are at risk from global warming. There is no scientific conspiracy to deceive the inhabitants of our planet. What do we have to gain? Corporate leaders and shareholders have everything at risk, power and control of our political system to keep rich and in control. The effects of global warming are changing our planet rapidly. Fortunately, for most of us, we won't witness the worst of things to come, but our grandchildren, great-grandchildren will. How will we be remembered? As a geoscientist, I know that many of the scars that are affecting some so badly now, with destruction of forests, springs, wetlands, wells, aquatic life, and our beautiful streams, are relatively temporary. This rape of our cherished homelands is horrid. What we are doing to accelerate global warming with the continued use of fossil fuels in the face of clean energy alternatives will last for eons with barely imaginable consequences. The decision is ours. This is our die-in. Is this the shape of things to come? Thank you.
But I usually have paper in front of me because I usually forget what I'm going to say. My name is Ruby Laurie, and I'm from Buckingham, where they are planning on putting in the largest compressor station. And we have been fighting for the last 3 to 4 years. And every time I speak, I get so emotional because they don't seem to care. They don't understand that we are going to have to breathe this poisonous gas. And now Dominion, what they're trying to do now is divide our community. They're coming up trying to offer money. But that's just not going to get it. My health, my family's health, and my friends' health is much more valuable than money. My pastor, who is Pastor Paul, he couldn't be here because he had a funeral to take care of today. He's a much better speaker than I am, but I just want to thank all the many people that have come to Buckingham to support us from different parts of Virginia, from different states. You know, it's just so, I'm just so thankful for them and that people do care about one another. And I care about the MVP and the ACP. Like Red said, it's not right. They come in and take your property. That is just not, they come in and take your property, and that's just not right.
Not right.
It's not right. So I just wanted to be here today. Sometimes I get a little distressed, and my husband tells me, but we have to keep going. But sometimes I just want to stay at home and just not do anything, not go anywhere. But I know that's not accomplishing anything. Even people in our community, they say, well, it's a done deal. They see the trees being cut down. Well, some of the trees have been cut down, but they put a halt to that. And they just assume that since it's the government, they can do whatever they want to do, but that's not true, because we, the people, are the government. We the people.
Not a done deal.
So they want to keep you pressed down. They say, no, you just stop fighting. It's not worth it. But it is worth it. And I'm going to keep on fighting it. Even if it should happen to come through, I'm still going to stand for what is right, even if I have to stand alone.
We'll stand with you.
Did you want to say something? Okay, that was my husband.
Harrisburg. I'm a Virginia native that way, but I've lived my entire life in neighboring Monroe County, which we share Peters Mountain and the New Rivers just below us. And I just want to thank you all in Virginia for really taking the charge. We have some folks in West Virginia who are standing with you. Unfortunately, many of my friends in northern West Virginia have been run over so much by the coal and the oil and the gas and the chemical industry that they find it very hard to resist. But it's people like you, like Red, Miner, Emily, Nutty, Fern, and all these people, Little Till people, that has given us the will to continue. We love you. I speak for the folks in Monroe and Summers and Greenbrier, who I'm very intimately with. Many of them would like to be here today. There wasn't enough room in Emily's van for all of us, so I took the first seat. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Red, for asking me to speak, even though what I want to say would not be very polite. We've got to stop these pipelines. And I don't care what Democrats or who they are that we take down to do it. But the Democrats aren't doing their job. Ralph Northam's name is mud. And we need to take this issue to his doorstep every single day. He needs to hear from us every day. Every day. The DEQ needs to hear from us every day. Every day. They're poisoning our water. They're poisoning our air. And they've stolen democracy from us. And we need to get it back. So every day we need to be calling the governor. Every day we need to be calling DEQ, calling your state senator, calling your state delegate, and telling them that water is life. And that what we're getting from this pipeline is a very false sense of energy security. And we're sacrificing our own water security. And our children do not deserve that. So every day, we've got to keep fighting every day. Thank you for coming out, everybody.
Dying is because if they don't stop what they're doing, people are going to die. They're going to die in explosions. They're going to die from breathing in poisonous gas. They're going to die from drinking polluted water. And that's why we call it a die-in. But now I'd like you all to stand up and let's talk about us having a live-in. And the live-in is about renewable energy, about wind power, about solar energy, and all the geothermal energy. This is what we also want to ask for in addition to making them stop what they are doing, okay? You have to call, tweet, email, fax every single day. You have to ask them where is... I posted this event maybe a week ago, and look at the number of people that showed up. From all over the state and from West Virginia. And keep reaching out to everybody you know. And the next time you come, bring them. And yes, we should go to Union Hill. We should go to all these places.
Can we tighten up for a